You lived in the area for your entire life?
In the district, I've lived in the district about a year. I purchased a home here about a year ago, but I've lived in Fort Wayne my entire life. So I grew up here when my parents moved here when I was 2 years old, and I grew up and I was born in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Fort Wayne. So I've been here my entire life and moved around a bit, but it's a great city, and I'm happy to be here and decided this is where I wanted to, you know, continue my life and build a life for myself because this is where all my siblings live and my family, and I love the community. So yeah, I've been here for quite a while. 26 years now since I'm 28. My favorite book as a kid?
Yes.
I really loved the Cirque du Freak series.
Cirque du Freak.
Yeah, so Cirque du Freak was a series about a young guy who unfortunately discovers that this circus that rolls into town is run by a group of otherworldly beings. I read them a couple of times, but that series was really big to me, and I got into I Am Legend and Richard Matheson around the time, and Edgar Allan Poe, and it kind of really. I think that's one of the reasons that it's made me love horror a lot more. Something that my mother always loved. So that book series was big for me. And if you ask my brother, I'm sure he'd say, "Yeah, I love that series." I think I still have one or two of the books. And so I'm a big person on music. Like, I love music. I'm a work DJ. So at work, I run the Spotify that plays in our office. So I always every Friday I'm like, okay, this new album dropped today. I'm gonna play it for us, or this or that. So I'm like, okay, let's see what came out today. I'll listen to that.
Yeah, that's cool. What's your favorite music?
I love predominantly hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop, but I love everything. Like my favorite artist, arguably, is Frank Sinatra. I love Frank Sinatra. Just always there. At my vinyls, he's the one I have the most of. I have, I think, 4 or 5 Sinatra vinyls. I love Sam Cooke. Mac Miller. I was a huge fan of Mac Miller. I have a tattoo which is a tribute to Mac Miller. I went to Southside High School. Yeah, graduated Southside High class of 2011. We had a motto that I love, and it was "We're so nice, we got number one twice." And it's my favorite thing. A lot of people think it's cheesy, but I love it, and I'll always love it. And then I graduated from Ivy Tech. With in communications and general studies back in, I want to say, 2016, and that's when I became involved in community work after that, and focused most of my time on trying to be out there, being a community speaker, speaking at different events, and then eventually becoming involved with the caucus and creating the caucus, and now running.
Yeah. Wait, speaking of that, that's funny. So I'm curious, what were the jobs that you've had?
Actually, my brother and I worked. I forgot, for about 6 months. We worked at a fiberglass plant, and it's by far the hardest job I've ever had. And we drilled molds into fiberglass. We drilled holes into fiberglass molds, and we would drill the holes in these for semi hoods. You would have your pneumatic your air drill. You would drill the holes into these molds, 32 holes per day, and it was the hardest job I ever had. And you would, we would get off work and we would go home, and our hands, we would have to put them in ice from just sitting there all day drilling those molds, because these are, thick fiberglass molds where you really have to push forward, and the guns are cold when you're drilling. So just doing that all day, and that's the most difficult job. And then you also get fiberglass all over you. And I don't know if you've ever had fiberglass on you, but it's very itchy, and it gets into your skin, and it feels like you're being poked by little knives. So you would lay down. When we would lay in bed, you would feel like you're being poked in your whole body, because you would get it all over you. It's like fiberglass dust that gets all over you. So we worked there for a while before I started working at the pawn shop, and that was it was a difficult job, but it paid relatively well. I still believe a lot of positions like that, when people work in foundries and scrap yards and manual labor, should be paid more, because those jobs are difficult, and it takes a lot of energy to do jobs like that. And so that was it was an experience, and then I work now with medical billing. So that's where I've seen, you know, a lot of, I think I've been there, it's going to be 3 years in September. And that's where I've seen a lot of people struggle with medical debt. And just struggling with bills and, you know, the way these insurance companies don't cover people, even though they're supposed to. How these plans that are supposed to help people like Medicare for All and Medicaid don't help. And people who don't know better end up paying bills that they shouldn't have to pay. When in theory, you know, you say you can't bill somebody who's on a state medical plan, you know, that person doesn't have an obligation to pay that bill. People don't know that. They see they're in collections, or they see, you know, they have a bill that could potentially impact their credit, and they're gonna pay it. They're gonna use maybe the last dollars in their bank account to pay that bill, and then they have to, you know, just continue trying to make their way after that. So I've seen that a lot, and that's why I'm very passionate about, you know, Medicare for All. People having access to healthcare without having to wonder about how they're gonna pay for it. So that's what I've seen. The job that I work in now, and basically what I do besides community work. So I've worked in a lot of fields. My first job was at a pizza place back when I was in high school. My junior year, I started at a pizza place that's now closed. They're still the best pizza that I consider we ever had in my city.
What's your favorite food?
Tacos. I'm traditional. I love tacos. Tacos are really good.
Spencer makes a mean taco. Like, that's his thing, like tacos.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well,
you guys should have a cook-off one of these days.
Yeah, I'm not the best at making tacos. I'll leave that to my dad and my aunts, and my dad, you know, cooks a lot, and so he's good with tacos, and but that's my number one thing. I'm just like, okay, let's I like Chipotle. You know, it's a healthy alternative. You know, get it, and it's pretty good to me.
Chipotle, wow.
I love Chipotle.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my big Friday meal. It's like, okay, during the week I cook, but Friday I'm done. I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna get